Hello, welcome to Microsoft Dynamics 365 Finance and Operation tutorial series. Now we are talking about the accessor keywords. In our previous video, we already discussed about the public and keywords, and in this particular video, we'll talk about the private keyword. So you can use it for variables. If you want to use it for the method, you can also create the private method. So in this video, we'll talk about member variable, we'll talk about the instance method, which is private in nature. In this particular video, we'll try to understand that methods that are declared as private can be called only from the methods in the class where the private method is declared. And the second point, we'll try to understand that no private method can be overridden in a subclass. Also, we'll try to understand one more point. Firstly, that we cannot call or we cannot access a private member variable inside a child class or a derived class. So without wasting time, let's jump into the coding section, and there I'll show you each and every concept clearly. As you can see that we have a project here, and inside the project you can see one class is present here, right? Person class is there, and inside this person class you can see two variable is there. If we will not declare a variable as a public, so by default it will be a protected, okay? And if you want to declare it as a private, then you have to use the private keyword before the variable name and before the data type. So if you want to make this particular first name and the last name both as a private variable, so you can use that. So what will be the facilities or what is the benefits of this private variable? So if you want to make it private for this particular person class, then you will not be able to access this first name and last name outside of this particular person class. So it will be particularly these two member variable will be associated with this particular person class. If you want to create the inheritance facilities and if you want to extend this person class, then also you will not be able to access the private variable. So we'll show that one in the later point of our video. So we'll try to access this particular first name and last name inside our child class, and I'll show you that you will not be able to access this two variable from inside your child class. So before that, please look into this particular method. So if you want to create an instance method or a class method as a private, then you have to use this private keyword before the return type of the method. So as you can see, this is nothing but a non-parameterized method, so that's why no parameter is there. And inside this you can write as many as code you want, whatever required for this to implement this particular method. But for example purpose, we are just giving this message that we are inside this private method. So I have to replace this word that we are inside the private method and inside the person class. In the previous video we work on some protected methods, so that's why the protected is there. So I have to replace with the private one because I have created the private method over there. And if you want to make the parameterized method, then you have to pass the parameter like this. So you can see two parameter is there, but if you want to make it as a 3 or 4 parameter, then you have to give the comma and you can increase the parameter as you want. What this method actually do? So this method will return nothing but void. So this method also void, that means it will return nothing. But if you want to return something, then you have to use other data type. You can use EDT here, extended data type. And if for this method you can see that whatever the parameter is there, we are just summing up that value, and we are printing one particular message that we are inside the parameterized private method, okay? And this is present in the person class, and after that it will print the A, B and C, the sum result here. And if you want to send or return from the private method, then you can use this type of syntax. So you have to use their return type, and before that you can see that it is having the private keyword. That means this method also a private method, and it is also taking two parameter, and here also we are adding that value, and we are storing it in the C variable and returning that. And if you want to access this particular private variable, then how we will do that? So to do that, we need to create the instance or the object. So we have created the object here inside the main method, and you know that to run the class we should have at least main method, otherwise we will not be able to run. Okay, if you want to run a particular class, then that class should have a main method. So that's why you have created this main method to run this particular person class. So to create the person class object, you have to use this line new keyword, and after that you can call this particular method, that is method private, this method. And if you want to call the another private method, this one, so you can see that it is taking 12 and 10 as a parameter, and you can access like this way. And whatever the value is actually returning, this method, if you want to take it inside a variable, so you have, for that we have declared a variable, and inside the variable we are storing the value whatever it is returning, and as a parameter we are sending 10 and 11 here, and then we are printing out this particular return value here. So if you want to see the result, so for that reason you have to make this as a startup object, and after that you can run to see the result. Okay, so just click here. As you can see that our program executed, and if you want to see the result, so you have to click this button, and if you want to compare it with the code, you can also do that. So if we'll go to this one particular method, so first it will create the object, and then after that it will call the method private. So that's why it will give you the result like this one, the first one inside private method inside person class. So that's the reason it is printing here. And if we'll see the next call, that it is calling the method private method with parameter 12 and 10, and if we'll go here, so it will print this message and you will get this one. So that's the reason you are getting this message, and 10 plus 12 plus 10 equals to 22. And at the last you can see that we are trying to access the method which is actually returning the value, and here we are passing 10 and 11. That's why it is actually returning the value 21, and we are printing that 21 in this particular statement. So that's the reason it is giving this particular message over here. Now let me close this particular result, and I'll stop the execution process, and we'll move to the next part of this tutorial, that we'll not be able to access the methods, private method in the child class or derived class. So we'll try to show you that what type of error it will give when you will try to access private member variable as well as private member method. So let's try that. Now we'll create another class. The name will be the developer. So I'll give the name here developer for the derived class, developer. Okay, and after that just add on it, and if you'll add it, it will by default it will create few access modifier. We don't want this. So to extend, we need to use the extend keywords, and here you have to use the person because we are trying to access the person class. So if you want to access a particular method inside it, so what we will do, we'll cut all the code which is present in the person class and we'll paste it over this developer class. Okay, and from the developer class we'll create the object of the developer class. We'll not use the object of the person class because we are trying to access from the developer. Okay, so if you want to access from the developer, you have to create the object of the developer, and you have to create the instance like this, and you have to use the new keyword, and after that you have to use the developer class name again, and you have to give the first bracket in and then semicolon. And to call any particular private method, you already know that to access a public and protected method we use this way. So same way we'll try to access. Okay, and we'll save, and after that you can see that 3 different error is there, and what it is actually showing me that method private is private and can be called only from the method in the person. So this particular method private is will not be able to access from this drive class developer because it is private, and this method only accessible from this particular person class. So this way, if you'll see this particular error, it will also give you the same error, that method private with the parameter is private and can be called only from the method in person. In the same way, we can't also call this particular method. It is also showing the same error, same type of error. So we know that this 3 line is not possible. Okay, so I'll just comment it out. But if it is a public method, then it is possible. If it is a protected method, then also it is possible. So if you want to see that how it is possible, you can see our previous video. We already discussed about the public and method. And can we access this first name and last name inside our method? So that is also not possible. So if you want to access that one, so if we'll comment it out, if we'll remove the comment from this line, and if you will try to access developer dot first name, so we know that we can access public member variable and protected member variable like this way using the developer. But at this point of time, you can see that one error is there. So if you'll look at the error, you can see the field developer dot first name is private and can only be referenced from within the element in which it is declared. So that means we cannot access private member variable like this way. So you can't access the private variable through the extension, or in the child class you cannot access, right? So this is not possible. So just let me comment it out. So is it possible to override any private method? So we know that to override a particular method, you just have to copy it, and if you'll paste it, then it will be the concept of method overriding. But you can see one error is there. If you'll try to override a particular method, then you will see this kind of error will be there. So it is saying that method private is declared private and on the base class person and may not be overridden. So you cannot override a private method, but you can override a public and protected method. We have shown in our previous video how you can do that, but private method is not possible to override, right? Also in the same way, we cannot call the super, right? Because method override is not possible, so there is no question of this call, okay, because it is not possible here. I hope the concept of method that are declared as a private can be called only from the method in the class where the private method is declared, and also the concept no private method can be overridden in a subclass. So thanks for watching this video. See you in the next one. Till then, take care. Bye bye.